In this video, we were talking about Epic Universe, the downtown Disney district being reimagined. We got 4 new restaurants coming. We're also talking about Tiana's Bayou Adventure. We got Tonez, we got Candid Camper, and the Italiano with me today. Up next on OG 55. Welcome aboard to another episode of OG 55. We are joined today by the gentlemen of the Bad Thoughts podcast, friends of the channel. I'm going to start off with Mr. Tonez TV down below. Tonez, welcome back, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me, man. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. If you could let everybody at home know where they could find you on social media, like Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff.
Yes, sir. So you can find me at Tonez_TV on all platforms and follow the podcast, Bad Thoughts Podcast on YouTube and Spotify.
Perfect. And I will definitely be linking Bad Thoughts Podcast down below. Actually, part 2, we did a fantastic video. I think it was like a week ago now or something.
Yeah.
And amazing stuff in that video. It's an adult conversation. Just keep that in mind, everybody at home. But check out part 1, then check out part 2. It's on the Bad Thoughts Podcast, all 4 of us. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Right over here, we got Mr. Candid Camper. Welcome back, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me. Like always, this is great. And yeah, I'm sorry you got me excited, but I forgot about part 2. I can't wait for that to drop, and I can't wait for everyone to watch it. It's gonna be good.
It's
great.
great.
You're gonna learn a lot about some of us.
Yeah, exactly. We really dive deep in that one, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty funny. But if you can let everybody
no
home
pun
know,
intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. If you can let everybody home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Yeah, you can find me at the Candid Camper on X and on YouTube, and then you can also follow us, like he said, on the Bad Thoughts podcast on pretty much everything now, especially on TikTok. Follow us on TikTok. It's nice.
Absolutely. And right over here, we got the now freshly shaven Italiano, Mr. Citrus George. Welcome back to the show, man.
Thanks for having me back on. Yeah, I had to clean up a little bit, starting to get a little scruffy there. But it'll be back tomorrow morning. So
yeah, exactly. That's why Manscaped needs to sponsor the show, because we can plug that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Manscaped, come on, call us. We're available.
Come on. So George, where can they find you on social media, sir?
You could find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on the podcast, A Walk with Walt. And, of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
Absolutely. All right, let's dive into our first topic at hand. We got downtown Disney. Okay, now we are in the midst of a renovation and reimagining of sorts of downtown Disney. It says here, this was announced just the other day on the 15th, 4 new eateries announced at downtown Disney as the overhaul continues. So 4 new food options have been announced as part of downtown Disney's huge renovation, adding even more eateries to the slate of restaurants coming to the outdoor shopping area outside of Disneyland. It says here, Disneyland announced 4 kiosks, which will be part of the new Parkside Market, a food hall style building on the west end of downtown Disney. Although they didn't specify where exactly Parkside Market would go, the former Earl of Sandwich and the long shuttered AMC Theater may be its future home. So here are the 4 eateries. The first one is Soul Sister. It's a Korean place which will serve bibimbap style rice, noodles, and salad bowls. Diners can choose a selection of meats, veggies, sauces.
What's it called, Doji?
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Right? It's a man, I cannot pronounce this live. Bibimbap.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I had to hear that again.
No, it's good. Yeah, it's a rough one. But it's basically Korean style food. We got Sip and Sonder, a coffee house that specializes in lattes and frozen drinks. We got Gigi's Chicken. Yeah, that one sounds dope. And then Gigi's Chicken Shop, which is chicken stuff. And then the last, but certainly not least, is an unnamed second story bar, which Disney says will serve signature craft cocktails and mocktails from mixologists who infuse muddle, stir, shake, and swizzle the freshest mixes using local ingredients and artful garnishes. Now, Tones, you're not as familiar with the parks as the three of us, but as someone, okay, like as a casual fan of the parks, do any of these interest you at all, or how do you feel about these?
See, we had this conversation on our podcast, and my favorite, I'm Mexican, and of course Mexican something that I have mostly all the time. But if I were to pick another kind of ethnicity for food wise, Korean food is probably my second favorite, and it's probably very close to my first.
Nice.
There's just so many different spices and varieties that Korean people use in their food that I personally love. So something like that is very interesting to me. But I used to be a barista for 8 years, so the coffee shop looks very good as well.
Nice. No, I'm with you. Tones, on the Korean food. I love Korean barbecue.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't go wrong with that stuff, man. And lately, I've been actually really into like kimchi cucumbers for some reason. Like,
so good, right? So
oh,
good.
they're bomb.
I love them.
Yeah. So the Korean place, sounds pretty interesting, for sure. What do you think, Candid? Out of these four places, which one kind of intrigues you, or maybe multiple places intrigue you?
So I've had bibimbap. There you go. Before.
There you go. You did a much better job than I did, sir.
I had it before, and it's great. It's easy to grab. It's easy to move on. Like if someone wanted to go and grab a quick lunch and then eat it and walk back to Disney, I think that's a great thing to grab.
Oh, yeah.
My whole thing though with downtown Disney is I do wish there was some more actual Disney inspired restaurants or themed restaurants. I know not everything has to be in the park, but you still want that Disney atmosphere. And I think we talked about this before. Why go to downtown Disney when you have to pay for parking if you don't get it validated? You have to walk through the gates and to get, metal detected. And then you got to find this place, then fight the crowd of other people. So these I say these three things sound like they're going to be worthy of why I would want to go downtown now. Like I'm not going to get this pretty much anywhere else. So it's a lot more unique than a lot of the old stuff they had. So I'm actually on board with this, and I think it'll be really good for downtown Disney.
Yeah, 100%. Well said, sir. And I think that also you're right. I think I would love to see some more themed bars at downtown Disney because, Trader Sam's was like a huge hit, and that's like a tiki room themed kind of bar. Really clever, really creative. Why not do like that Haunted Mansion bar or,
even Jock Lindsay, those one of those.
Yes, right? Give us a Jock Lindsay's. That'd be great, I don't know. I love the boathouse over there at Disney Springs,
It's fantastic.
It's so good, but we could never. It's just not enough space out here. We'd have no room for those little aqua boat things. What do you think, George? What out of these four places, which one kind of intrigues you, interests you?
For me,
or
I'd
none of
probably
the
have to
above. I mean, if none of them do it, none of them do it.
I mean, they're okay. But it's not something that I would kind of.
They're not
out
Carl
of my
Jr.,
way. Exactly. Yeah. But actually, but this is kind of interesting though. Not that any of these really pique my interest per se, but I think what actually, and I'm probably going to take this conversation in a whole nother direction, but I find it fascinating that they are continuing to add more restaurants, updating the downtown Disney area of where the location is now. Because with moving forward with Disneyland Forward, if they were considering on making the Toy Story parking lot into that Disney Springs type of area, why would you put so much time and money into updating something that would essentially have to be moved? Right. So I'm kind of thinking, honestly, that the Toy Story parking lot is now even a further confirmation to myself that could possibly be for the third gate.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of this stuff, when you look at the artwork for Disneyland Forward, a lot of the stuff that they're building right now encroaches into things in the artwork. It contradicts, and that's why I told people, like with that artwork for Disneyland Forward, don't take it to the T, don't take it to the letter, because that's just a general idea to sell the zoning rights to the city. That is, those are not blueprints by any means, So what we get will likely be very different than what we're seeing in that art.
But I think kind of going back to what you fellas were saying is I would love to see more theme to it. And I think maybe that's why I'm not too excited about these restaurants. It's just, okay, it's a Southern style restaurant. You know, there's
You know what,
many
too,
different.
George?
It just seems like that there's something that you could find outside of Disney property.
And you've been to Disney Springs, I'm assuming multiple times too. So how
Yes.
hard is it to come from Disney Springs and then go to our downtown Disney?
Oh yeah, that's a that's a huge difference, like from A to Z. You know, it's like, yeah, they do have a lot of quality sponsored restaurants, you know, based off of big time chefs and what have
You
you. But
still feel like you're at Disney when you're
exactly,
down
it
there.
has that Disney esque to it, where
Mhm.
I say like the beginning part of Disneyland's downtown Disney, like where the world of Disney is and everything. That kind of has like that traditional downtown Disney. As you move forward into it, when you start walking towards the Disneyland Hotel, that's where you kind of lose me. That's where it starts to feel like I'm just walking on harbor and I'm
Yeah.
seeing just a bunch of restaurants and businesses.
Well, and good. I mean, it's good though because that's the part that's getting the most reimagining. I think they're really digging the crap out of that whole back end with where the AMC theater used to be. That's going to be the Din Tai Fung, like that fancy Chinese place, and they're going to have that stage over there. So they're redoing it over there, which is good. And I agree with you. The way it used to be was very lackluster. It was too wide open, and it just felt very, like you said, like anything you could find on Harbor. You know what I'm saying? Not much personality to it. You know?
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Would you guys prefer like these newer, or I shouldn't say newer, but these kind of restaurants that they're introducing as opposed to like fast food kind of restaurants, or or would you prefer to keep it the way it is, or introduce unnamed kind of restaurants or not big restaurants?
You know, it's interesting you bring that up, Tones. I actually suggested that I would like a mix. You know, I would like a mix. Like some of this like restaurant sit down stuff is great, like Din Tai Fung, all that. That's cool, you know. But I would also like to mix in some kind of like smaller stuff. Like I suggested, there is a Vietnamese food, right? I love Vietnamese food, and they have a sandwich called banh mi, which is basically like a baguette with, you guys know, right?
Oh yeah.
Bomb.
And in Orange County, they're so good. And in Orange County, you can find them everywhere, like Lee's Sandwiches. And there's another place called THH, which is pretty good. But I would love to see like a place like that kind of take up shop at downtown Disney, even if it's just like a kiosk or something. I think that would be really cool, especially for locals. You can grab and go. So you can grab one of those banh mi's, throw it in your backpack, go to the parks. It's like so. I think it would do very well, like the Earl's sandwiches. You know how that kind of took off.
Did it do well while I was out there?
Very well. In fact, they kept with this whole thing. There's a lot of drama with downtown Disney. Like 3 or 4 years ago, they ended up evicting Earl's because they were going to build a new hotel in that back part. They evicted it. Then they canceled the hotel. So they moved Earl's like it was like 2 or 3 times, right, George? That they moved this place.
Yeah, they moved to like multiple locations.
Yeah, but that location did so well that Earl's was like, yeah, wherever you put us, we're good.
We're good.
So what do you think of, like, how come Disney doesn't reach? I mean, obviously I know why, because of money and business choices, but why not reach out to Earl's Sandwich and have them move inside and be like the official sandwich of Disney? If they do so well, that means even though you're not selling your own product, there's still way more.
I know what you mean, because Disney heavily does that with Starbucks and Joffrey's, like especially at Walt Disney World. Like it is heavily like you can go to. They have a Joffrey's literally right outside the Skyliner station at the pickup point where you either choose to either go to Epcot or Hollywood Studios, and there's a Joffrey's right outside of Animal Kingdom, you know. So it's like, yeah. So I agree with you for how popular Earl of Sandwich is. You know, why not utilize that?
Do you think Disney gets to see those numbers? Do you think they share their numbers with them?
Oh, that's interesting.
That is interesting. I don't know. Is that a choice or is that a requirement?
Well, I mean, they have to make their rent. They have to pay Disney, you know, the landlord basically every month. I don't know.
Does Disney see the books?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if Disney really cares so much beyond that, right? As long as they get the check every month, they're good. Exactly. Or does Disney dive into it and go, "Oh, okay," you know?
You know what Disney should do is have like once a month, just like a big, like a food event where these local mom and pop shops come and bring like a truck or whatever, and it doesn't even have to be necessarily in the park, but maybe like the parking lot where mom and pop shops can come and introduce their food, and if some if fans like it, bring them in the park, stuff like
Yep.
that. I think that
No, Disney Springs
That'd be cool.
does that. Disney Springs has an area. It's back by the West End where the Cirque du Soleil theater is. They have an area where different food trucks come.
Nice.
I guess
Is that in the park or outside the park?
Disney Springs, so it's not in the park. It's
Okay.
it's on property, but it's in the Disney Springs area, which is free
Gotcha.
admission to anyone who wants to
And
come.
and once again, that's why I think we need a Westcott. 'Cause you can just
Exactly.
throw all that in there. And the cool thing about like even Epcot, like the Mexico Pavilion, they have the restaurant inside it. Then they have the shop, like little taco shops and stands and margarita sections, and they have the tequila bar, like, and it's all fit in this little place. So you can totally just bring in a whole bunch of carts whenever they want if they want to do that. I think it's a
Oh,
great
that'd
idea.
Dope.
It'd be dope. Yeah, I mean, I loved World Showcase over there at Epcot. I've been
So cool.
advocating for them to bring that out here in the form of Westcott for the longest time. I mean, I think that would do so well with the locals and stuff, that drink around the world thing. It's like
Easy money.
it's money. Oh, we said money, George. Hold on.
You said money. You said
Here
the
we
M word.
go.
Give me the drop, some money, dropping on my money.
Brand new money, brand new hundreds, got a bunch of zeros like a bag of new Funyuns.
Sorry. Every time we say money, we got to do our money drops.
Yep.
We got two now. We do back to back. We got La Lisa and Little Wheezy. But yeah, it would it would be fantastic if we could bring that here to California. We'll see. We'll see what that third park is eventually. We don't know.
I just don't, even though it's the best money that they're gonna make, like the way the company's going, where they just want to throw food at you and make money off it, I still don't see them just
Well-
doing it.
Well, of
me
course,
neither.
yeah. I mean,
You can't tie an IP to a restaurant. I mean, you can, but we'll see how that goes.
Well, and they've been having a hard time. They've had a hard time with Epcot for decades, and they're trying to kind of reimagine that park right now. And I just don't know if they want to get into that whole mess out here in California.
You don't
I
need
think
the
it'd be
World
cool, but
Showcase part of it though. Like that's or excuse me, what's the first path?
it was Future World, but now it's like multiple neighborhoods. It's like
We don't need
World
that.
Nature,
Yeah,
World Celebration.
Just give us the actual round the world, and I think that would be okay. And if you need to give us an entrance, like, I mean, you can't obviously can't do a Main Street, but you can still give us that structure. Give us the big
like the ball.
yeah, give us the I can't remember the name of the ride. Cool ride, but by the way, that ride, weren't they supposed to update it at some point? 'Cause last time I went on, it was like it's
rough?
it's getting a little dated, yeah, but it's such a great ride.
Oh, it's fantastic. I went on it for the first time in July, and I fell in love with it. It's really crazy how it's really tight in there. Like you're going up, right? It's real tight, but I like that. It's unique. And then all the different scenes, all the animatronics and everything. It's really, really cool. I really enjoyed it.
I never knew there was a ride in there. Like I always thought like Topanga was just like in front of this giant globe. And then I finally went and I was like, holy crap, there's a ride in here?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fuck, how's they
Wow,
fit?
I
Like,
can't believe. Actually, that is so interesting that we're talking about Spaceship Earth, and anything could have had a connection to it, and you bring up Topanga from Boy Meets World. That is awesome.
By the way, she still looks amazing.
She does.
man.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
Doesn't look like she aged at all. Crazy.
And she's like, what is she now? Like she's like in her 40s, right? Something like that.
Yep.
Not bad. Almost like Selma Hayek, huh?
Oh,
Inside joke.
can we can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Let's can we play money again?
Oh yeah, I got it. I got you. Let's play money. Here we go.
Give me the drop, some money, dropping on my money.
Brand new money, brand new hundreds, got a bunch of zeros like a bag of new Funyuns.
There we
That's
go.
how I feel.
There you go. And then
I didn't mean to get us off the topic. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, but absolutely, I think the World Showcase style park here in California would do phenomenal. Bob Iger or anybody at Disney, if you're watching, please do that. It's money in the bank. And then if you have to look, when you have all the different countries, if you have to throw Frozen into the Europe section and you got to throw Big Hero 6 into Japan, then do it. But just bring it here and just give us that park, please. I mean, I think it'd be just perfect. But we're going to pivot now to our next topic, which is Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Okay, so this is interesting. This has been the talk of the town now for years, literally years. Okay, so now George and I have opined a lot about this. We talked a lot about it, George, right? Like our opinions on the retheme, what have you. my overall view on Tiana's is I'm okay with the retheme itself. Like I think that there's a lot of potential with this property in that space. For me, I'm just waiting to see how the execution is, right? I think that you could have a good idea but not necessarily execute well on it. So I'm kind of iffy on some of the stuff, right? I feel like the storyline that they're kind of giving us with the salt mine co-op, missing ingredient stuff, I feel like it that whole thing can sort of get very, very unclear and very messy very soon, very, very, very easily, right? So that's what I'm worried about, but I'm going to have an open mind with it. I'm going to see how they do. I think the animatronics that they're going to put in here, I think will be really good. There's pros to this, but I do also have some worries. But Candid, I'll start with you. Like overall thoughts on this retheme. What are you optimistic about? What are you really concerned about? Where do you stand with it?
And let the cussing begin.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, I almost didn't want to go first.
Well, you don't have to go first.
No, I'm messing with you. No, I'll keep it easy and keep it light. I don't like the idea of the storyline they're moving forwards. I'm all about change and bringing new life to the park. I think that's great, and I think it's the more princesses we can get in the park, even better for me. Like I love that. That's what Disney, like, besides obviously the Mickey Mouse and the classics, the other next best thing is going to be princesses. But when you steer away from the story and you don't make this princess a princess, and then you say all these storylines of Princess and the Frog or Princess Tiana, and you're using the key word princess, and she doesn't look like a princess at all. That's where I'm starting to pull back a little bit. But like I said, I want to have an open mind too, and I'm glad that there is a few of the characters from the movie in there. But I mean, I don't know any of these people now. That's the way I'm going to go into it. Like you're giving me not the movie. I don't know what this is anymore.
And I think that's the common misconception. I think a lot of people may not really understand. And here on OG55, when we say that we don't agree with some of the ways that Disney had partaken for this attraction, it's not saying that we don't want a Tiana attraction. We want a Tiana attraction. I would love to see a Tiana attraction, a Princess and the Frog. It was the decision making of how the route that they decided to go for that. And me personally, because when I think of Princess and the Frog, especially like with Dr. Facilier, like that was the first thing in my mind. Like when you climb up that lift hill, like right at the end, you hear that bump, bump, bump. Are you ready? Like that's what I was anticipating. And it's like, okay, we're climbing to the top and it's like, it's Mama Odie. It's like, well, what's so intimidating about seeing an old hag wearing sunglasses with a snake around her neck? Like I want to see like Dr. Facilier. I want to see like the voodoo, like the colors and everything.
What would your ending be right when you come down and you go where you go into that turn?
Well, that would be okay, so for me it would be when you go up to the lift hill, that would be like the finale of Dr. Facilier, kind of like, are you ready? Then I would have it transition to Mama Odie, because then Mama Odie's powers would then outbeat Dr. Facilier, and that's where the drop comes in to kind of get us out of it.
Okay.
And then when you come up, and then the celebration at the end, you still keep the boat, and have like a whole bunch of maybe like locals on the boat, what have you, and they're having a Mardi Gras party. That's how my ending would be for the attraction.
Let me ask you a question, George. Are you an Imagineer?
Am I an Imagineer? I would love to be an Imagineer.
How fucking hard was that for you to come up with that?
Right.
And you have a room full of these people.
I'm telling you, bro. I mean, as I said, just give me one day. One day at 1401 Flower Street. Just take me.
I don't even know where the fuck that is, but just give me a phone. Like I can phone this in for you. Watch our channel. If you're watching this, listen to these people. This is what everyone wants. Just give the people what they want. Listen to the fucking people. It's not that hard, man.
I think what it is with this ride in particular is I think they're really worried about perception, right? Because they're replacing a problematic IP with, now they're putting Tiana in there. So now it's like all eyes are on them, right? So I think there's a lot of things that they're trying to accomplish with this attraction. But I think when you're trying to accomplish all these different goals, into one product, some of these things might not all work together, right? It's like, I love ketchup and I love ice cream, but that doesn't necessarily mean that those two things work together. So I think that's kind of what's happening here is like they want to do this, they want to do that, but it might not work as one cohesive piece. And I think that's what's,
something that's weird that works, I guess works really well together. Sriracha with a lot of things I've heard.
Yeah, I heard that too, right, George?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could pretty much put sriracha on anything.
Yeah, exactly. Anything. Now, tell us okay, so when you went to Disney, you went twice. Did you go down Splash Mountain?
Yes, we went to Splash Mountain. Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts about them changing the theme out and making it like Tiana? Like, are you down for it? Not so down for it? Like, what you've heard, does it intrigue you at all, or not really?
What you guys are saying, kind of, or what Candid Camper was saying specifically was the princess thing, because he kind of made a good point of, that's a big attraction when it comes to especially children and young ladies that like that kind of Disney princess. It's Disney princess is something that literally everyone talks about, and children, specifically. But that part, I don't really get, to be honest. But as far as change, I get it. The whole theme of like this. I was reading something about like performances, performances and stuff like that. I think that's pretty cool. I'm not too sure if they have it now. I haven't been there in a couple years, but I think that's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind that.
And see, for someone that, I mean, are you really familiar with the movie that much?
I to be honest, no, I'm not.
So if someone like you is perfect, that I think this is what they're going for, to maybe bring in a new crowd, but at the same time, this is a locals park. I know that they're doing it over in Disney World too,
right? But
you have the same people that come in once a week, 2 times a day. You never know, and you're giving them something that they don't know about. I mean, I guess that's okay to get something new, but why?
One thing I will say is they're supposed to bring in restaurants, correct?
They already opened one up, yeah.
So my thing is this restaurant has to hit, like everyone has to be talking about this restaurant for them to be like, oh, okay, it's worth going over there. Otherwise, not many people are going to want to go over there.
Well, and here's the thing with the restaurant that's currently already opened in New Orleans Square. I love the aesthetics of it. The one thing that I would change is the perception of how they serve the food. If you do mobile order, okay. If you do, if
that's what it sounds like after you're done eating there.
Okay. I'm like looking down. I'm like, I wonder if I like split my shorts or something. It's like, but when you mobile order there, they give your food in like either like styrofoam or plastic containers.
What?
So it's like, for me, it kind of takes the appeal away. It's just like, if you were to go into
Even
like an everyday, no, if you stand in the regular standby line, they serve them on these like glass dishes, and it kind of looks like lily pads or what have you.
Cool.
So that's pretty cool. But yeah, if you do mobile order, you're getting them in takeout containers. And
what sorry to cut you off, what would you want to put them on then when you're taking out?
Well, normally, like when you do a mobile order, they'll still provide you the same kind of quality, that they'll just place it on the tray, and you just go to the separate window and you say, order number 239 or number 170. They hand you the tray, everything is still on there, but you just bypass the line.
Right.
And then
so you still get the lily
outside.
pads.
Yeah, you can still go outside and sit down. So it's like, why subdue the overall theming by you're getting handed basically like Chinese takeout, at a Disneyland, a newer Disneyland restaurant. Like,
now, are the lily pads, are those, is that like actual glassware, or is that
it's glassware? Yeah, it's like glassware.
See, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, because, okay, my mind always goes, okay, where are they saving money, right? Because these corporations, nothing's by accident. It seems like they're spending more money giving them the takeout boxes to produce those, which get thrown away, as opposed to just the glassware that you wash.
And that's like over here in Pennsylvania, we just started, and I'm going to go on a rant. People are probably going to, go, but I'm going to go for it. We started this stupid thing where we no longer give out plastic bags. So now it's
had
even.
that, dude.
Have you been to
Come on,
California,
man.
bro?
It's
Yeah,
been like
oh, yeah,
10
yeah.
years.
So for us,
we've been had that for
So-
decades.
They just catch.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah, so yeah, I knew California did it. So over here in Pennsylvania, we decided to get on that train for God knows why. And I keep on telling people, okay, so they want to try to save the environment by doing away plastic bags. So what do they bring in? Oh, paper bags. We have a slew full of paper bags. Where the fuck do you think paper comes from? Oh, so we're going to save the environment by killing more trees.
No, I know.
They gave us the reusable ones, and then they switched over to their own reusable ones, which is this thick ass plastic, anyways. I'm not gonna bring the thick ass plastic bag with the Target symbol on back to Target. I'm not gonna do that. The shit goes in the. I recycle. I still put it in the recycling, but come on, like, you're making it thicker than it was before?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh,
George.
those
you guys
Target
have to go.
plastic bags
I was just going to say certain things like that. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah. And certain things, thick isn't too shabby, but yeah, those Target bags, man, you're right. I mean, they're like parachutes. You can jump out of a plane with those things.
Until the handle breaks when you the second you jump. So
Yeah.
it's always the handle.
It's always the handle.
But kind of going back to Tiana's restaurant. So that's where, again, Disney has a vision to want to bring these stories to life, but it's like they're their own worst enemy at times.
Yeah.
Where it's like they try to create a certain narrative, but they overcomplicate it. And then going even further back to the attraction, I am curious to see, because when we got to see the image of Lewis, the oversized alligator animatronic, that looks dope as hell. I think that looks really cool. When they give us the Tiana audio animatronic, I hope they give us the type of Frozen over in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
I hope they do not give us any more of those LED faces anymore. It worked for the Seven Dwarfs in the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Because OG mentions that time in and time out, where they're more animated, so to speak, as the dwarves were. When you take like human figures like Elsa and Anna and Kristoff, it's like it's very unappealing.
I have a picture of the alligator. Like, it's like the skeleton of it though. Like, it's not done yet, but it looks pretty cool. I mean, it's got that big mouth. I mean, I like it. I think it looks pretty cool. I could see, maybe they'll have like him, I don't know, maybe like have water come out of his mouth or something. Who knows what? But it looks pretty cool.
What is
Wait.
Oh, sorry, go Tim.
No, I was just. Can I just ask a quick question? Like,
Sure.
The changes that I hear that are happening, it almost sounds like they go with the best idea of whoever the Imagineers, and like I feel like the Imagineers don't come up with good ideas when
they're picking the best worst ideas. What you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong, Disneyland's beautiful all around, but it feels like these new attractions that they're trying to introduce, a lot of people don't agree with.
And it's a shame too, because the Imagineers that built Disneyland of what it's known today were a lot of, creatives, and unfortunately, not too many are left in the company.
What's the criteria? What's the criteria to be an Imagineer?
Oh, it's tough, man, because Imagineering is like a cross between, like, you need to know architecture, engineering. But you also got to be creative. Yeah. I mean, it's
many different fields. There's many different fields. So you're not just titled just as an Imagineer and you're everything. It's like they have in Imagineering, they have a department, as OG said, in architecture. They have a department in artistry. They have a department in engineering. They have their own separate R&D group for research and development for newer kinds of technology. So there's many different sectors of WDI. But again, they all have to have one thing in common, and that is the ability to be creative and tell a good story. And unfortunately, right now, as I said, I feel like that they're overcomplicating it.
Well, they are, and I think that they have it in them, because we see. Look, to be fair to Imagineering, we see them do A+ work
Oh yeah.
over in Japan with that new Fantasy Spring thing, right? And those are the same people designing the stuff for us. So I think it's like something else that's meddling.
Okay,
You know?
let me ask you this, OG. Do you feel like it's not necessarily WDI because Tokyo exactly?
Tokyo.
We got to say we know what it's about. OG, you got to do the drop. It's all about one thing.
Oh, the money. Oh,
The
here we
money.
go.
Oh, the money.
Brand new money, brand new hundreds, got a bunch of zeros like a bag of new Funyuns.
Here we go.
It's Tokyo has their own separate financial distribution, which actually doesn't come from the Walt Disney Company.
No, it doesn't.
So
they pretty much do
Tokyo,
what they can with the budget. That's
so
what you're
yeah,
saying.
exactly. So Tokyo gives WDI the money. They're like, we want this, go do it, and then that's where WDI can go and play. Where with the domestic parks, we're much more restraint on money. So it's like, okay, then they have to kind of finagle. So that's what I was saying. So my question to you is, do you feel like it's the higher power above WDI?
I think that's more of the issue because we're seeing proof that they have it in them when we see this amazing work in Tokyo, right? So I think these creatives have what it takes. I think with Tiana, though, as an example, there are certain things, like I said before, that they need to hit, certain goals they need to hit, and it's going to contradict and affect the overall empire.
And I think that's why Tokyo does not want to touch Splash Mountain because it's like they automatically know. And I hope, that's not the case, but I think that they may know what we're in for. And they probably looked at those concept ideas and they're like.
So George, let me ask you this. What came first? The budget or 5 concepts? And then once those concepts were on the table, they're like, give me the price of each concept. And they're like, well, that's the cheapest one. It's an okay story. Well, let's go with that.
Okay,
leaving Tokyo out of it.
Okay,
obviously.
Okay. So, from my understanding, and I don't know if this is how it actually went on. This is just how it is, like through the Diz Twitter community. Due to unforeseen circumstances and events that happened in 2020, Disney kind of wanted to keep themselves out of that bullet range, so to speak. And it's like, oh my gosh, we got to hurry up and change something. So on the fly, they came up with that first piece of concept art, which was, I actually dug that original concept art where you saw Tiana in her movie, in her gown, not the green one at the end, but the one where she's going to the costume party, and it shows Lewis playing his instrument, and you see Mama Odie's treehouse type of thing. I actually like that. But that was actually, from what I understood, was made on the fly because this really wasn't something in the pipeline that was being considered prior to 2020.
Treehouse though on the top, man, that thing is gorgeous.
I said this is what we should have had, and so to your point, if this is how the initial concept was, here comes the budgeting. Well, and then it just trickles.
This was budgeting because, from what I understand, to convert the Chicopee Hill to that tree, the tree would have put too much weight on the structure below it, and it would have cost them a lot of money because they would have to reinforce the whole thing then, and they didn't want to do that.
I mean, we could just throw a Yeti up there to be the same thing. They got that going, right?
Yeah. What's up? It's strobe light. What were you gonna say, Tones?
Oh no, I didn't know they were permanently shutting down Splash Mountain. I thought they were just gonna build around it, but they're gonna.
I know they're both out of commission right now.
That's
they're gutting it and they're retheming it to something totally different.
So, but they're gonna have the same kind of water concept, though, right?
Oh, same guts.
Okay.
Yeah, same guts.
It's just the decor, the decoration, the animatronics, the music, all that will be different. But you're still going to go in the log and still going to go through it. You're still going to drop. All that will be the same.
Okay. Can I say something? No, we're forgetting. We were talking about all this stuff. Can we still talk about how Tiana does not fit in the theming in over in Universal Studios? Definitely doesn't fit the fucking there. But over in Florida, like I know they're changing things around, but I still feel like it's going to be weird. You have Big
Yeah.
Oh,
Thunder
it's definitely
right
going to be
there.
weird. It's definitely going to be weird. And actually, Braden from Mickey Views touched upon this, for which Disney declared that it's not going to happen. And he made a separate video saying, because there was speculation they were going to turn the second part of Frontierland into like a New Orleans style mini land that would have connected to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And then the other part of Frontierland, which was Big Thunder, that would have been connected to like a desert land, which then would have expanded beyond Big Thunder, and that was going to be Encanto and Coco. So Big Thunder would have been kind of intertwined with those two IPs, but unfortunately, that I thought that would be kind of cool. That would have worked out well, but they're not doing that, so they're keeping Frontierland as a whole, and then you have Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and then Big Thunder.
Yeah, but
So-
they're gonna have like a little like well, what Braden was saying with it, the area immediately around Tiana will be New Orleans, though, right?
But
So-
there's really nothing.
Well,
there,
it
though.
was
You got that
supposed to
bridge.
be the end part, like where Pecos Bill
Right.
is. That was supposed to be rethemed to like a New Orleans or a Tiana inspired restaurant. Like that was supposed to be like the New Orleans kind of area. But as of right now, they didn't make any announcements. Pecos Bill is still going to stay there for the time being. But I'm assuming that's the route that they're going to have to go with.
They're gonna have to, yeah, because it's also for the money. I'll play the drop in a second, but it's also for the money because they're gonna want to have the reason why they built the Tiana restaurant at Disneyland is we heard, I think it was at D23 if I'm not mistaken, that they're gonna pump in the beignet smell in the queue of the attraction, and that's all by design to get you hungry. So you go to the place and you buy the beignets. I can't imagine Disney World missing out on that beignet money. And the only way to do that is to retheme Pecos Bill. So I think that's
Mint juleps too. Money.
Yeah, it's money. It's money.
Money.
It's money.
Give me the drop, some money, dropping on my money, drop some money.
It's just money. It's money in the bank. So I think that you guys will get some shorthand version of New Orleans in and around that area, and hopefully so, because you guys are right. It doesn't make any sense over there if they don't. It's gonna be really weird.
I agree.
Really, really weird. But we're going to pivot now to our next topic, which is Epic Universe. So we're pivoting not only topics, but companies. So we're going now to Universal's Epic Universe. I'll start with you, Mr. Candid Camper. Overall thoughts about the new park coming. We had a little bit of a conversation on Twitter. You were saying that you thought that people are underestimating this park. You want to elaborate on that? Give your thoughts on Epic Universe?
Yeah, and I think I'm going to be on the other end of it because I feel like a lot of people are kind of maybe 50-50 on this thing, but I feel like a lot of people are like maybe a little bit more pulled back. You got to remember, like they're planning this pretty damn well. The thoughts they had of picking these IPs to go in here was pretty genius, especially on their smaller scale of like. I feel like Universal has this weird like they gravitate towards the same shit. What you always talk about, OG, fucking Minions. But they're finally getting away from the fucking Minions, and they're giving us a new Harry Potter, which is awesome. Not a fan of what concept they're going with, but it's Harry Potter. Who cares? It's going to be money. We don't have to drop it, but it's and but the Universal Monsters. I think that is the most genius thing you can do. Make that the biggest land. That is going to bring in all the old folks and the new ones. And every every October, I wait for them to give us those old films back. Like Peacock is running all those old films, like The Mummy and The Invisible Man, and I love watching those.
Okay. I actually have a question for you, Camper.
Yes,
now, I'm actually on the team that kind of is like pulled back a little bit, for the notion. Now, you had mentioned the Universal Monsters, which I am a huge fan of. I'm actually curious of how they're going to play to this. But I remember you mentioned something earlier to Tonez, because he's not too familiar like with the theme parks and he's not too familiar like with the Princess and the Frog. So maybe that was Disney's route to kind of get an audience that maybe not understand too much of the Princess and the Frog. So at the end of the day, they don't care. Do you feel like that would play into the same aspect with the Universal Monsters? because since they are such older classic films, the newer generation isn't going to really understand them. And as you said, it may draw the older people in, but are those older people going to end up
You know,
going
my
on?
mind's going like this when you're
I
talking.
could see it. Yes, I could see it.
So yes, I do, and I'm gonna bring up the sorest subject right now. This is controversial. Number one
Uh-oh.
on my page. Here we go. You know why it's gonna work out? You know why they're gonna figure it out? Because they're sticking to the fucking script. We're not pulling a Star Wars bullshit where we don't know where the fuck you're going. Some made up bullshit land. None of these characters make any sense and why they're there. They're gonna give us classic monsters. You know who the fuck Dracula is. You know who the fuck Wolfman is. You know who the Mummy is. Like, you know who these characters are, because guess what? This Halloween, I'm gonna see all those motherfuckers out there, and like that's how it's gonna be. So I think Tones can walk up into that park and still relate somehow to that land itself. The celestial land, that's fucking weird. I think that's the weirdest shit they did. But
Well, and the weird thing about that land too is that's the land. I agree with you that a lot of it is like they have this one big coaster and it looks barely themed. I know they're still building
so
it,
weird.
but there's like no theme to it, and it's just like over some grass or something. I don't know. And I'm
It's
like,
I think it's the Starfall Racers or something like that.
yes,
Something weird.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. So scratch that, like, 'cause no one knows what the fuck that is. Tony knows what monsters are. Tony knows who Mario is. Tony probably seen How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh yeah.
I think and Harry Potter. I think this is going to be okay, and they're doing a great balance of adult and really adult, because I think that part of the park is going to be very adult oriented, but
Yeah,
you're going to
makes sense.
have the How to Train Your Dragon and the Mario, and they're giving that perfect balance. I don't think it's going to be it shouldn't be underestimated. I think it's going to pull a big trigger, and Disney's going to end up seeing this, and they're going to be like, wow, they can get away with monsters. Let's do some villains. And that's something I kind of wanted to bring up. We don't have to do it now, but I kind of wanted to ask,
Oh no,
if
go for
if
it.
Disney
Yeah.
goes villains, do we go villain land, or do we do mini villain land? Because you got Sleeping Beauty, and you know how they love to use Maleficent for everything, or even Turnabach. Like there's no Sleeping Beauty ride. You got a castle, but do you make a Sleeping Beauty mini land like they did with Frozen?
well, you bring up an interesting point, Candid. Like, okay, so Epic Universe opens. Right? Let's say it's a huge hit, and the monsters area is one of the more popular areas of that park, right? Does that motivate Disney to go, huh? Okay, we don't have monsters, but we do have the villains.
Okay, sorry, OG. I just want to just clarify. So what you're saying is sort of like how Tokyo is doing like Fantasy Springs. It's called Fantasy Springs, but they
Correct.
have 3 separate IPs within
I
that
think
one
that's the
land.
better option to go, because you don't have to. But that's where Universal's kind of getting weird, because they're just throwing everything in one. But it makes sense; it's more cohesive because they are randomized monsters. But you can make those 3 mini lands and make them the top 3 villains easily.
That's interesting.
That's interesting.
Give us fucking Aladdin with the Kuka arm. Come
Oh
on,
yeah.
Well,
Jafar?
I gave you my interpretation. I think it was you. I gave you my idea of, because with the villains, like where you go into the Cave of Wonders and you have to
Yes.
escape
Yep.
on the magic carpet, and you use that Kuka arm to escape out of out of the Cave of Wonders.
Now-
and it just makes sense. Come on.
It makes total sense. Now, here's a couple of the issues that I think I have with Epic Universe. Not issues I have with it, but things I can see potential issues for the park. Number one, it's very like young people focused again. Like the other, like if you're a grandmother, there's not much for you to go on in that park. If you're a 5-year-old, even the How to Train Your Dragon area, it has a coaster. Mario, it's another coaster. There's a lot of coasters and stuff that will throw you around. Like even the Monsters ride, it's not a coaster, but it's that Kuka arm thing that a lot of people don't. It's tough for some people. I think that's an issue for this park and Universal in general. I think that one of the things that makes Disney so successful is that it really does hit every demo. Universal is still kind of working that. I think they're getting better with it, but I think they still kind of lack in that department. But the other thing that I think is going to be a real challenge is because in Orlando, the theme park market is so saturated that you kind of get to a point now with 4 Disney parks and now 3 Universal parks. You have to make decisions now because there's no way in hell you can get 2 weeks off of work to do all this stuff. So when Epic Universe opens, is it going to cannibalize the other Universal park? Like, for example, okay, we're going to Universal, so we'll do Epic Universe. It's the new thing. And we'll hit Island of Adventure. but maybe we can skip the studio park because it's the weakest of the three. That's an issue, I think, for Universal, because that actually happened to Disney when they built Animal Kingdom. It cannibalized Hollywood Studios.
And added on top of that, Camper, I have another question for you. When you look at the any of the Disney parks, particularly with Walt Disney World, you have Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. They're four very unique, distinct parks where if you go in them, they have a different sense of style, smell, what have you.
Smell.
I can, honestly, you could blindfold me. I kid you not. OG, the next time we go down, I'm doing that challenge. Blindfold my ass, take me into one of the parks. I guarantee you, just by the smell, I can tell by which park I'm in.
Can you tell what pizza shop it would be?
Oh.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can.
Mic drop on that one. Okay. but for
Oh, man.
for the Universal. I'm sorry, folks. For the Universal parks, when you look at Islands of Adventure and then you're going to look at what's going to become of Epic Universe, there's a lot of similarities of the aesthetics of how it looks. So you basically just have, I hate to say this, kind of two of the same parks, but one is more of a newer technological advancement than IOA. So as OG was saying, will that cannibalize IOA? Because basically you're having two similar parks that people may have already experienced how many times. And it's like, hey, we don't have to go there anymore because we just got the newer one right over here.
So I agree with you because you're right. It's basically generic until you get to those lands. But the thing is, if there's, once again, smart business. By the way, guys, business to me, it just kind of comes natural sometimes. And it might not be the right answer. So if I say smart business choice, I'm probably fucking wrong, but I feel like I'm right. So just go with it. So if I was Universal and this was a smart business choice, you combine those first two parks together on one ticket and then the add-on for the second ticket. So you're still trapping them into technically 3 days. And then Disney's going to get the 2 days at the end of it. Because I know when I go on a trip, I'm either going for 5 or 7 days. And I'm going to split it between all 4, 5, 6, 7 parks.
That's a great idea. And actually, also to Universal's credit, the Harry Potter train goes from the studio park to Islands of Adventure. So you have to buy both tickets to experience that, So,
but
that
don't charge them separate. I mean, obviously, don't charge. You could charge a la carte, but make them together that you have to purchase the two together and just raise. So say it costs $200 to go to both parks. If you're to split them in half, make it $170 and combine that ticket. That way you're forced to go to both parks. You're not going to be able to finish both parks in one day at that point. Both parks in one day. So now you're kind of forcing the crowd to go a second day to finish both Universal and the other place I can't think of that's the same as the other park.
Island of Adventure.
Island of Adventure, thank you. So that way now they're like, okay, cool, I'm spending 2 days there, and then you're gonna get that third day because you're not gonna go and not go on Epic. So I think Universal can really steal 3 days out of your week easily.
That's interesting.
Speaking of tickets, they're going ticketless now at the Epic Universe. They're going
really?
Using like some facial recognition or something.
Facial recognition. Yep.
That's advanced.
That's wild. That's gonna be weird. That's smart.
And speaking of technology, when is Disneyland going to adapt to Walt Disney World's security system? Just like walk through and like just
it has
they could alleviate so much because with Disneyland Forward, I know we're on Epic Universe, but
no, you're fine.
They could alleviate a lot of that congestion in the morning when you have to go through each individual bag, each individual stroller. It's like just walk and go.
It's got to be something with some sort of Orange County law or something. Because look at it.
I was about to say that, yeah.
Right?
Probably.
It just seems like it because it feels like I mean Disney's willing to do it in Florida. Like there's no reason why they shouldn't do it here. It has to be some sort of Orange County thing. I'm just guessing, but I mean it's a hassle. I hate that too when you go through the bag check And I have a backpack, and I got a lot of zippers on that thing. And they unzip everything, they look through everything, and they hand it back to you. Now I gotta zip everything back.
And here's the frustrating thing. I told OG when we go, I was like, it's the simplest thing. You just walk through, you just go to the park, go into the park, into the turnstiles, you're good. I never get dinged. I guarantee you, he gets through like cake, and me, every single motherfucking time I get through, I got dinged every time. I still don't know what was in my fanny pack that just kept on dinging me.
Every time we went through that stuff in Florida, they pulled him aside. Hey,
Yeah.
over here. Like, George.
It was the shades.
They can, I know, right? They can go the opposite way though. That like if like something hopefully knock on wood nothing happens. They could turn
Sorry,
it
George.
into
All I'm thinking about is George going through with his like 80s fanny pack and he's forgetting his steroids are in there. I can't figure out why this is digging, brother. What those pants called? The pants, the fucking like stretchies, the pink stretchies. That's George all the way.
That's George.
and he has a Sriracha keychain, right?
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Sure,
it
you
was
can't
actually
bring that
funny,
in
like
here.
when OG and I were at the pool at the Poly, like, and I just got like that
Hammered.
day I got wasted, man. But I had like my Miami Vice shirt on. I was like all into it.
What
Oh,
the hell are
man.
those pants called? Like Zumbas? Is that what they're called?
Oh,
Remember they're like
yeah.
Peter print?
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Oh,
about. I know
okay.
exactly what you're talking about.
Oh,
That's
man.
hilarious, dude.
Sorry to cut you off, Tony. I just
No, you're good, bro. No, so
George
what I
doesn't
was
do steroids, by the way. We don't condone that stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
No, so what I was saying was like they can go the opposite way though. They can turn, get into Disneyland just as hard as it is to get into an airport, Like I worked at an airport, so I kind of get what the whole security thing is. God forbid something does happen. It's our day and age, it fucking sucks that it does, but a little security like that getting into Disneyland is to me shouldn't really be that big of a problem just because of the bullshit that happens nowadays, which like I said sucks. So
But you complain
but
about
Absolutely.
not complain about it, but at the same time, what if something did happen and we didn't go through all those checks? Then you'd be like, well, Disney's not checking us well enough.
Right.
Exactly.
So it's always gonna be like that double-edged sword that we're just not gonna get through. But there's easier ways, like
And
George was saying.
Yeah, and I do agree with you, Tones. I mean, I would rather prefer to know, they do take the proper precautions to know that I'm going to be safe as soon as I pass security. So it's
Mhm.
like nothing really can go through. I think it's more so just as more people start to go, and especially when Disneyland Forward gets greenlit, because we all know that it's going to happen. It's going to draw even more people in. So it's like, how would they have to finagle the security checkpoints where it's not going to back up and create a lot of congestion where it actually could cause a stir up where where a lot of hefty fans kind of lose their tempers, words exchange, and then that could cause issues.
Well, see, I like I said, I haven't gone as much as you guys, so you guys probably can tell me the answer to this. But the problem, we didn't really have a problem getting into the park. As far as those lines, does it get worse than? Does it get like really bad?
If you go at a
Sometimes.
certain time, yeah. But we just got in at the right timing. Like I'm telling you, you got lucky. Not trying to toot my own horn, but you had a perfect trip. Like we did everything perfectly that whole trip. So I'm actually really glad you got that experience because there's some shitty experiences.
Yeah,
I've
I
had.
usually don't have a problem. I just flash my Zumbas and then everyone just kind of just backs up.
Yeah, exactly. with your tie-dye sweatband, right?
It's all me, brother. It's all me.
I got this. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, but you're right, Tones. I mean, like, the inconvenience, of having them do it and waiting and all that, it sucks. But at the end of the day, if it prevents something, that's.
I
Yeah,
just
it outweighs
think
your
it's.
safety.
I just think at some point Disney's going to have to update. Still keep like a strict policy on security, but I feel like they're going to have to update, tweak it a little bit, as you will, like do some
Like make
changes.
it bigger
Like,
or something.
they're going to have to do something, especially if. No, there I go with the if. When Disneyland Forward proceeds through, they're going to have to do something more because, as I said, it's going to draw a much bigger crowd. Once everybody knows that DCA is going to get an expansion and eventually a third gate, they're going to have to do some accommodating as far as with the checkpoints for security.
Speaking of Disneyland Forward, this is one of the cool things I think also about Epic Universe and the impact on Anaheim is because Epic Universe is not like basically in the backyard of the current two parks over there. It's going to be a bus ride over there. And I think Universal has its own designated lane that they're going to have for these buses, which is pretty cool. But it's like, I think from what I understand, like a 10-minute drive or something in these buses from the current Universal Resort to this new resort with Epic Universe. Now, why that's going to impact Anaheim is because if we build a third park, it would be over in the Toy Story lot, likely. We're going to have a very similar situation, carting people back and forth. So I think if Epic Universe is a huge hit and Disney sees that and their system works with the buses or whatever, they might be like, okay, cool. For the third park here in Anaheim, we can institute a similar process. People are willing to do it, yada, yada, yada. So I don't know. I think it'd be good for us
take
here.
it to the sky. I mean, I could see some crazy ass Skyliner just zooping you right across. Why
That'd be
not?
great. That'd be great. That'd be great. Zooping you. I like that. I like you coming up. Just zooping you right over there.
Zooping with my Zoombas.
I was just about to say that.
I feel like I forgot to mention something a while back, and it was about the Aladdin thing, and it kind of ties into Aladdin and princesses. But can we Aladdin was the princess in the movie? This has been kind of sitting in my mind because I was coming up with this concept with a buddy of mine, and I was like, when can we get the other view of these stories? Like, when can we get the princess view of all these classic movies? How awesome would that be? Like, where the fuck did Prince Charming come from?
Right.
Who is he? Where he just fucking shows up one day and he's like, "Hey girl, what's up?" And then she's like, "Oh," and then that was it. Like, where'd you come from, dude? What is your backstory? What
Right.
Where we know Aladdin, but the thing is, Aladdin was
Well, normally, what goes on when someone shows up, usually a bottle of tequila is involved.
Or siracha.
Or sriracha. Yeah, one of the two, right? Or some boardwalk pizza. All of the above.
So I don't know. It's just where my
George.
mind was going. I meant to bring it up when we're talking about the Aladdin ride. So I just kind of want to get.
But
your
that
guys'
is a
take
good
on
point. Actually, that is a good point because when you do look at all those films, like even with Beauty and the Beast, it starts the film out as if it's telling the prince's story, as he transforms into the Beast, but then it segues into Belle's story, and then it's them, coming together and what have you. But I do agree with you. Aladdin is like the one film where it showcases as the main character, as the male lead role, where the princess kind of takes the back burner, so to speak. Yeah, that's interesting.
I
What about
always hate.
Tarzan?
Oh, Tarzan. That's pretty cool.
We're going prince and princess wise though. Tarzan.
I mean,
is he
technically,
the king of the jungle? Is that Tarzan or is that
Yeah,
the other
exactly.
guy? Is that George?
That's
Not the
George.
jungle.
Not this George. No,
Yeah.
but Aladdin always.
Well,
made
I mean,
me-
I can't lie. I can rock a loincloth.
Yeah, he can. He can.
I don't know
wanna
why
see
we
that.
that.
I don't know if I want to see that.
I gotta say though, Aladdin always kind of low key pissed me off though, because he had so this dude. Think about what Aladdin, right? He had.
Aladdin pissed you off.
No, he did. He low key made me mad. I kind of hate on Aladdin a little bit because this dude had a fucking genie. He had a pet monkey, a fucking flying carpet, and the hottest fucking chick. Like, this guy had everything, man. I hated this guy.
OG,
boy.
10 years old. Mom, I fucking hate this guy. Like,
hate this guy.
walk out of the movie. Why'd you drag me to this movie, Bob? Fuck this guy.
Dude has it all. You know what I'm saying?
Fucking Aladdin. Fuck you, Aladdin, if you're listening.
Did you guys hear about the Donkey Kong roller coaster?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That's what we got.
Perfect segue. I hate fucking Aladdin right to Donkey Kong.
No,
The
so
donkey-
apparently it's supposed to be opening up in Tokyo first in 2024, and then
Cool.
we get to see what it looks like there.
That is the
And
one.
then-
I think out of all the attractions, that's the one I'm actually very excited about.
They did their research.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that's if you're right, both of you. Like, if you're gonna showcase what this new place is gonna be with this new technology, that's gonna be the fucking right to do it.
Oh, and the cool thing about that ride, I don't know if you heard Tones, but it has a fake track. Okay, so there's a track underneath, right, and then there's a fake track on top, and it rides on the bottom track. Okay, so there's like I don't know how it works, how it's attached, but basically the car sits like kind of like on it sits on there's like a beam and there's like the tires of the coaster, right? And it sits on that bottom track. And then right underneath it is a fake track. Well, the fake track is going to have brakes along the way. So it's going to look like your car is actually flying over the brakes in the track.
Oh shit, that's
So
dope.
it's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. That's gonna be the ride. I think that ride is gonna be the thing that everyone talks about.
They basically want you to walk off that ride the same feeling you got walking out of the theater of Boogie Nights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, I think that's gonna be the star of the show for Epic Universe. I
What-
really do.
Yeah.
What rides are we getting in the Villains Land? So I saw, is it a dark ride? Because I feel like they kind of changed it around on us a little bit.
You mean the
The
Universal
monsters?
The
Monsters?
Universal Monsters, excuse me, yes.
Yeah, from what I understand, we're getting a Forbidden Journey.
Yeah.
It's like that, but it's I think it's Dracula's castle or something. If I'm not
Can I
mistaken,
ask you a question
Or-
about Dracula?
or Frankenstein. I think. Go ahead.
Have you ever heard of a broke Dracula or a broke vampire?
No.
Like if you're a broke vampire at 1,000 years old, just walk into the fucking sunlight. Like,
Yeah.
like you failed at being a vampire. You failed at like what are you doing, bro?
What do you do? It's true. It's true. Yeah, I think it's Frankenstein or Dracula, but it's the same thing, kind of similar to the Forbidden Journey. I don't know about the other rides though. To be honest with you, I'm not as tapped in with Universal. Nintendo is going to get the Mario Kart ride we have here and the Donkey Kong coaster, and I think they're getting Yoshi too, if I'm not mistaken. That little
Epic
kitty.
Universe is getting Yoshi.
so they're getting 3 rides for that land.
They're getting
Yeah.
3, and then
that's pretty
How to
cool.
Train Your Dragon is getting the little roller coaster, and I think a show.
They've already started testing the ride over at How to Train a Dragon.
Oh,
They're
awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, they already have a cart on the track already doing testing.
And then that other thing
Oh.
was, what was it, like not a slingshot type of thing, but where it's like a revolving, like
Oh,
where
yeah.
your seat revolves while the whole mechanism is
spins.
spinning.
Yeah, that's also How to Train Your Dragon. It's like, yeah, the thing like spins like this, and you're on those little dragons.
Yeah. See, to me, that kind of harkens back to the creativity side, because to me, it's you're just taking like a basic
Carnival.
amusement park carnival type of ride, and you're just throwing a little IP into that, and that's. I mean, I know one can argue
didn't
about
need it, though.
Pixar Pier. You know, it's
Oh, yeah,
like
true.
Or even Teacups, or Dumbo. I mean, those are kind of amusement parky rides, I mean, not even kind of, they are.
But they're people eaters. They kind of need them. Like not massive people eaters, but those lines get to
okay.
stay
But the
consistent.
difference is like with Dumbo and the teacups, that's something that you can kind of take your little ones on.
Mhm.
Where with that How to Train Your Dragon, I don't know. I don't know. Like that seems like it's a little bit.
More
I mean, I don't know
intense.
how the full thing, but I don't know like what the height restriction would be for that.
Yeah.
But
That's interesting. Now the Harry Potter ride over there, you go, and again, I'm not like super versed in the Universal stuff, but I hear enough of it to kind of get the idea. You go through the fireplace in the Ministry of Magic, and then you go. So that sounds pretty cool.
it's
Yeah.
supposed to be.
That's
I
dope.
thought the initial concept for the Harry Potter ride was supposed to be like a VR type of experience where you're riding on a broomstick.
Right, but they ixed
Um,
that.
And then they axed that, and now you were on like the freight elevator that they were on to go to the different floors of the Ministry of Magic. So I'm assuming it's going to be something like a Tower of Terror.
Can we stop with the fucking 3D glasses, please?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
dude, it's not fun. You want it to work so bad, it just doesn't work, and it's annoying. It's not one size fit all. Like, look at the size of Tony's big ass head. That shit does not work. And then it just people with glasses on that sucks. I can't.
I was just gonna say that my glasses people like Tones, George. I mean, like you put the then you put the 3D glasses over it. Then I'm stressed out. I'm gonna scratch my real glasses. It's just like.
And then
oh,
you
man.
get the pair like that actually like they're crooked, and you have to keep on adjusting them so you can kind of see, focus correctly. Now, OG, how was it for you for Flight of Passage? Because I usually don't have a problem with
No,
those 3D glasses.
I didn't have a problem with those. I had a problem recently, actually, at Universal on Transformers, which is weird because I never ever had a problem before. But that one time, I went with Wizard and Vash back in like February or something, and the glasses didn't fit right on me, and I got so nauseous when we got off that ride.
Oh man,
I think that's the worst part about the 3D glasses. After the ride, you feel like you're drunk as hell, and you just feel nauseous the whole time. Like it's not. I've never liked 3D ever,
Yeah.
especially at the movie theaters. I think it's.
I didn't either.
Ever.
Like the 3D. I remember the first 3D movie actually kind of like dates back, like where the one lens is blue, the other one is red, and it was Spy Kids 3D. Oh my god, like that.
top 10 right there.
That
What, was Cloverfield 3D or is it just a freaking poorly filmed movie?
It was both.
God, dude, that movie.
No, we all know the truth, dude. Avatar is king of 3D, and that's. I mean, I thought that was beautiful. That movie is just gorgeous, and I did not expect the second one to do as well. Completely honest, I was on the other side of this just because it wasn't going to be 3D, and I think that 3D made the first one so good.
Was the second one good? I didn't watch it.
Storyline. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah,
it was really good.
I
Fantastic
purposely went to go see that in theaters with 3D, because I wanted to compare it to like, is Avatar still king of that? Because I saw the first Avatar in theaters in 3D, so I wanted to see how it led up to that. And I agree with you, Camper. It's Avatar's king of 3D, no matter like which way you spin it.
Dude, right in the beginning, oh my god, with that fucking purple, whatever that thing is, dude, it was right, and it wasn't even just right there. Like the way they got the camera angles too, wasn't like clipping out and it just wasn't. Nothing was just a fast jolt. It was like the movie was 3D, like how it should be. It's not bullshit.
Tones, I would definitely check out Way of Water. It's a really cool father-son kind of story. I
love the first one, so I'm down.
Oh, I think you'll love it. Dude. I was really impressed by it, and it's a long movie, but it flies by. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. What is it, like 3 hours or 4 hours or something?
Three.
Like that?
I think it's three.
3? Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Once again, my mind's just going random, and it was going back to the Epcot thing.
Yes, you're ugly.
Oh man! Leave a comment in the below if I'm ugly. I'm okay. I can take the pain. Just glad
you call me a big head. So
I mean,
I had to come back somehow.
Leave a comment below if he has a big head. Anyways,
hey, that should be the poll on the video when I release this.
Oh man, I can't wait to see these answers. I never really got all the way like into your trip, OG, to Disney World, and I love Living with the Land. I think that's one of my favorite rides out of almost every park. It's just so well done. It's natural, and it's just that to me is the imagination. Like, put these people into something and then let them go out and eat it. like literally how. So my question to you is: first one, do you think that ride is overrated or underrated? And number two, how do you enhance that ride in the future? Because you're gonna have to enhance it at some point, because if you go in there, it looks kind of, that whole area is very dull. It needs some love.
No, it's way underrated. I loved living with the land, and it's kind of like a dying art. Like, Disney's not going to build rides like that anymore. It's never going to happen. Anything they build now.
And I was very disappointed, like their first day at Epcot, because I didn't get the opportunity to take OG on Living with the Land, and that was a ride that I really wanted him to see. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, we didn't get a chance to go on the first day. But when he and I went back the second day, I wanted to make it my business for him to experience that.
Great.
And I'm glad that he did, because as you said, OG, it is a dying art form, so to speak, of the theme park industry, because you're right, you're not going to see a ride like that anymore.
Never.
And that kind of reminds me of going back to Disneyland now, like having your storybook canal. Like, where do you, like, that, those concepts of that is just beautiful. Something so simple that can be so Disney.
So Disney. Yeah, it's great. And to answer your question, Camper, to improve it, I think the ride itself is pretty great. I think it's really the area, like that little pavilion on the outside of it. Like, you go through that like pavilion, it's like a food court or something, and you
Yeah.
have that's the
Oh,
outdated
dude.
part.
Yeah, I would keep the garden grill because the
Yeah.
garden grill is very unique because the restaurant rotates to different areas of Living with the Land, so that's cool. But everything else down
Dude,
below,
Timon and Pumbaa.
well, and that too,
Come on, that thing is weird.
Oh, well, yeah, it is. As I said, everything else can like all that shit can like be. I mean, they have that whole theater back there. That what was it? The Circle of Life.
Yeah, I
Something,
don't know
whatever.
what it was. It just basically crammed down a whole bunch of shit down my throat. Like, hey, recycle. Like that's all I got out of that. Like I need to recycle now, which I do. But like, kids don't want to watch shit. I didn't know what that ride was or what it was, and I was going in there expecting Lion King, and it was not Lion King, and I sat there bored out of my mind.
Okay, now could we talk about that too? The Lion King is one of the highest grossing, not just Disney or even animated, just films of all time. Why did we get subdued to something like that? Why couldn't we have we have the Festival of the Lion King show, which is phenomenal at Animal Kingdom, but why couldn't we have a Lion King mini land where we could see Pride Rock or the Elephant Graveyard or something?
Guess where we could have put that one at, George? We could have put that where the fucking dinosaurs is. You could turn dinosaur into Lion King if you wanted to.
The Elephant Graveyard. You already have the Boneyard.
Easy money.
And you're going through. That's the thing. Like you got those safari jeeps. You're on a safari, and you have Mufasa and Scar. You got. I mean, and Lion King needs an epic attraction like that, like a big ride. You can't do it like a Fantasyland dark ride with Lion King. It has to be big.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the opening of the Lion King.
Oh,
like
geez.
where have you ever seen another movie open like that?
Dude, you can do? You can use those big ass screens like they did in that Pirates of the Caribbean ride, the new one, and just imagine the freaking
The Stampede. Can you imagine putting a
dude.
fucking Stampede on that thing?
That'd be sick.
That'd be
so
sick.
cool.
That'd be really, really cool. Yeah, there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of potential, and this is the thing that's frustrating. I think you brought it up, Candid, earlier. We're a bunch of dudes. We don't have architectural degrees or this, that, and the other. We need to go to like art school for a bajillion years, and we're coming up with stuff like this. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that hard.
And I think it comes back to the budget, and it's sad that people that have billions and billions of dollars just to throw at the bullshit that they don't realize that they're throwing at bullshit, I think really cripples themselves. Just like the Fox acquisition. Like when I heard how much they spent, I was like, holy fuck. But then I sat there and I thought, and I'm like, you know what? We kind of did need some of the stuff that is in this Fox stuff, but they're still not implementing any of it. When are we
not for $71 billion.
No. And what's your thoughts? Perfect segue, even though it's not my show. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I felt like I was saying, when do you ever think we will get anything Fox in the parks?
Well, let me. Can I actually bring something? Because OG
Sure.
and I were talking about this, and I had mentioned something because it was during our live show. Someone actually asked that question and mentioned about like Alien and Predator and the Planet of the Apes, and I actually suggested if you're going to do something with Planet of the Apes, put it in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah,
like you can have like a kick-ass
such a universal
type of.
That's such a universal ride.
Well, it is, but the aesthetics of Planet of the Apes, because honestly, you could have that same argument with Avatar. When people thought of Avatar, it's like, oh, well, the easiest route is just put it in Universal, which I was one of those people. I thought, why the fuck are you putting it in Animal Kingdom? But like, it works aesthetically, it works, and I feel like with Planet of the Apes, I feel like if they were going to do a Fox type of IP in the park, aesthetically, I think that would be
and that movie did really well. Even the remakes, like they did fairly well. People like Planet of the Apes.
They were good. And here's the thing too, is like you have to like, it's $71 billion. I think it was after they sold off the sports stuff, it was 50 billion. Okay. You got to justify that price tag. Yeah, I know. I was like, oh,
Angel of Mercy.
Yeah, you got to justify that price tag. So, I mean, they really need to start like, I know Bob Iger announced that we're going to get some sort of Avatar experience at Disneyland. Make it something big. Make it another Pandora style thing like that Florida has. Add like what George was saying, like a Planet of the Apes thing. Start utilizing the X-Men. I mean, I know they're working on it with the MCU,
Dude,
but geez.
Ice Age. You have fucking Ice Age.
Right.
Like,
Animal Kingdom. That'd be cool for Animal Kingdom.
Dude, they could all, and even with Ice Age, you can do a stage show like in the back, like they have like the Nemo thing, and I think people still show up to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, can I say something?
Sure.
I don't know if anyone's ever said this on his show, OG, but why haven't they made a video game themed park? Like just strictly video games. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like that's something that would like everyone's playing video games now. Like, can you
Yeah.
imagine a Halo ride where you're riding in
wasn't that the initial concept when they first announced with Super Nintendo? Wasn't it actually supposed to be its own theme park where it was like, okay, you'd have Super
Pokemon.
Nintendo, Pokemon, Zelda. I remember I remember seeing an old piece of concept where Zelda was more north of the park, and then you would have Pokemon in the right side, then you'd have Kirby, and then you'd have Super Nintendo. I
Just
thought
fucking
that was
imagine,
like
dude.
I thought that was the initial concept, and then they moved it to, okay, let's just do it as a land.
Yeah, that would be money. That would be amazing. Now it's kind of hard to do that because now you already have Mario and Donkey Kong in these other parks already. So it's like,
Dude,
But I
if you
think
get
that was it.
Pokemon
I think that was
everywhere-
it. I think it was Mario, it was Donkey Kong, it was Kirby, it was Pokemon, and it was Zelda. Those were, I think, were the 5 sections that it was supposed to be an initial park.
I think if they did that, Disney would have been shitting a fucking brick.
oh, Pokemon would crush, dude. Pokemon is huge.
Dude. Holy shit, it wouldn't be fair, dude.
Like
It would not be
Pokemon
fair.
is on the same level as Disney in my like
seriously.
life. It's
It's huge.
Yeah.
Pokemon is the
But-
biggest franchise in the world. Like
But-
it's unbeatable.
But can you imagine though, just a themed park of just video games, like Halo, like a Halo ride would be fucking phenomenal.
that'd
Or
be
just
really cool.
just in general, like any video game you could think of, just put it in a park.
Oh, Metroid.
It's hell yeah, dude. Right? Hell yeah.
Hey,
But
you know the cool
like
Go
that's good money right there, bro. No?
Yeah.
the cool thing is that Disney now owns the rights to Home Alone, so maybe we can get a Home Alone ride.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Well, that could be like an escape
do
room,
you-
basically, right?
Yeah.
Like the Home Alone house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to sneak in a house?
Escape from
Yeah.
Macaulay
Just
Culkin's
build the
CPS.
house and the whole ride, go up to the top part of the stairs, sit on a sled, and push you down, and hopefully you don't break anything.
Yeah.
You're sign this first.
Kind of like the Indiana Jones, you just running from Macaulay Culkin the whole time.
That's funny.
But I do agree with you guys. I mean, there's so much stuff. They have Alvin and the Chipmunks too, which is another. Well, they could reboot Alvin and Chipmunks and it'll be big. Let's put it
Is
way.
that
Well,
is that Fox? I didn't know that.
It's Fox?
yeah, it's Fox, but that was
Wow.
interesting about Alvin and the Chipmunks, that when they did do the remakes, they were big in their own right, but it was like they were only big within that short amount of time.
It's weird.
And then it was like, they just got dropped off.
Yeah.
It was like,
Do you guys watch Christian Harloff at all on YouTube? Oh, he's pretty cool. He does a lot of stuff like we do, basically, but he doesn't do theme parks, but mostly entertainment news and stuff. But he reviews movies. He talks about this stuff roundtable for like an hour. Very cool guy. But he used to call Alvin and the Chipmunks.
the Chipmunks.
He used to call them the shit rats. And that was hilarious.
I like your Alvin and the Chipmunks better. I think it sounds like
Alvin and the Chipmunks. There you go. That's what they bought for $50 million? God damn, Iger.
That's crazy.
How did the Night at the Museum movies do? I remember the first one was really good.
They
again.
did really good.
They did
Yeah.
really good, but that's
Oh, yeah.
that's just the thing. It's like in the moment they were very successful films, and then it's like you bring them up and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Those are a franchise too." It's like nobody talks about them anymore.
You know what else
So-
fell off? Is Smurfs.
Smurfs.
That was that Sony?
Sony.
That's Sony. Yeah.
Dude, once it's Sony, man, they do some weird ass shit. Like I don't. Did you speak of Sony? Oh, speaking of Sony, I love it. Great one. The new Goosebumps on Disney Plus.
I heard
You
it's
watched
good.
that yet? It is fucking fantastic, and I didn't know it was partnered with Sony, which is really odd to me. I've just finished it. I think it was 5 episodes. There's a new episode every Friday. Check it out if you have not watched it. And it threw me through a loop. I did
That's
not
the
expect
new
that
one
long.
with Justin Long, correct?
Correct. There's actually quite a few different people in it. I was actually very impressed with the cast. It gets kind of funky. There's a couple things in there that you're like, why are you doing that? You'll find out when you watch it. But otherwise, really good watch. And
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm
I've
excited
heard
about that.
people on Twitter talking about it. Like, why is no one talking about this show? It's really, really good.
Yeah, I like it. Well, here we are.
Here we are. Exactly. Check it out, and I will definitely check it out. I'm very curious because I've heard a lot of good things about it. So
So I just asking now if
Sure.
that third park does come and they're like, hey, you know what, this third park is just going to be Fox. And you can pick four Fox lands.
Oh,
Who are we going with? If you need a list, like I could pull up lists.
Well, Planet of the Apes would be one of them for me.
yeah, that would be pretty dope. I think Planet of the Apes. I think Pandora because we don't have Avatar yet, so you can put it over there. So apes, Pandora. Oh man, this is
Gotta
tough,
go
man.
with the kid. They gotta go with the kid stuff, and that's what I'm thinking. Like Rio was one of them.
Rio.
Like I said, Ice Age was huge. I mean, Ice Age did
Probably
I think-
Ice
yeah,
Age. Probably Ice Age
is
for the
for
kids.
sure. Yep. Even for
Yeah.
adults, that movie was good for. When I watched it.
Yeah.
The Croods was another one. X-Men, obviously.
What about Madagascar? What was that?
That was
That's
DreamWorks.
Yeah.
That was
That's a
DreamWorks?
Universal
Okay.
property. That a Fox Park would be pretty cool. Actually, you could do the X-Men. You could do a whole X-Men area. That'd be dope.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on them actually selling off some more stuff? Because I think I like now going back to the Ice Age thing again. I think Universal would benefit from having Ice Age as one of their franchises.
It seems like a Universal
a theme park.
thing.
Yeah, well, a lot of this Fox stuff really seems Universal to me. It's kind of weird how that works.
I know, because I think Disney, what they should have done, they bought Fox, right? Obviously, you keep the Marvel stuff because and then
Yeah,
I think, yeah, I mean, you keep the Marvel stuff, but and then I think they even got the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope, with that deal.
Yeah, New Hope. Yep.
So obviously, you keep that, and then I would sell off a lot of it though. Like, do you need Home Alone? No. Like a lot of that shit, you could sell off to other studios and let them have it.
And then, but somehow, and then work it out as a deal to keep the rights for your streaming platform, obviously, because that did really help out the Disney Plus by having most of those movies. George, you got something to say?
I do.
Go ahead.
You know what is so funny? Camper? I don't know what it is. I get this look on my face. I guess I don't even realize it, but people know like I have like some smart ass like comeback or something. It's like people just know it. But it's like because it's in my head and I'm waiting to say it. But I'm thinking, if you really wanted like to stick to the overall theme, if they wanted to do something with Fox, have a little section of like a Mrs. Doubtfire land where everyone could just go in, dress up and drag. There you go. You got the overall theme of California.
That's not controversial at all.
I'm not
Bryce.
touching that one. I wouldn't touch that one with the pie.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, no, I mean, a Fox Park would do really well. Obviously, you would gear it. It would skew a little more adult, maybe than like Disneyland would or something like that. But you would still want to have something in there for the kids. I think Ice Age is a good pick. Yeah,
But in all
That's
seriousness,
fine.
like those films, like Home Alone, even at Mrs. Doubtfire, it's like you can't. That actually just proved my point. There's nothing you can do with those
right.
type of movies beyond streaming. So
Yeah.
it's like, and again, they don't really fit the Disney. I don't know. Yeah,
So tying it in now, was $51 billion a waste? Was it billions or millions?
Billions.
billions.
Oh, fuck,
Billion.
that's even worse.
Yeah.
It's $51
Billion.
billion a waste of fucking money.
It
All
was-
you needed was a few things. You didn't.
All you needed.
Yeah, for that amount, yeah, no.
well,
it was a
they
complete
probably
waste.
had to package it in there though. They could, they had to throw a package in there. Like if you take this, you got to also take this, this, and this.
But yet these companies, not even just Disney, they're selling things off individually anyway. It's like, oh, well, we'll sell ESPN for this, and then we'll put Hulu over here, and then it's like a stake of this and that. It's like, why put yourself through that? It's like they should just like out of the gate, just like pull what you would need or what you would want, give the offer, and sell it off, because essentially if well, I'm not gonna say if I don't believe this would ever happen, knock on wood, but if someone were to buy out Disney and break it off like the hostile takeover almost happened, you're then breaking up the company into different sectors anyway. So it's like, why can't you do that when you're making a bargaining negotiation.
They might do that. I mean, because I think the mindset was very different when they bought Fox. I think the mindset was like, we need all the content we can have for the streamer. But now the streaming service is like kind of a money pit, and it's not so much the focus as it was before. So we might see some of them sell. We might see them sell off some of the stuff. Like I think a lot of the television stuff is on the table, and that might include, look, I mean, like there are some television stuff, in that Fox mix. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
You see what they're doing too. You see them picking and choosing still. Like Percy Jackson, they're choosing to reboot that, and they're gonna do
well.
Yeah, and that's something I think that was kind of not underrated, because Percy Jackson's not underrated. I think they just got a shit run because of Fox, but I think it's gonna kind of sneak under the radar and not get the critics. It's gonna be a Goosebumps in a sense, but it's gonna be that fucking good, and we're not gonna realize it till way later, and then that momentum's gonna die down.
You know what ride they should get rid of? Just the ride.
What's that?
It's fucking Goofy's Flight School.
Oh
no, they can't touch it now. They can't. Honestly, Tones, if you would have asked me, if you would have asked me, would you get rid of that ride like 3 months ago, I'd be like, fuck yeah, get rid of that thing. That thing's a waste of space.
What happened? There's a story?
There's a story. There's a story. Yes.
There's a story. Go ahead, George. You do the honors.
So OG and I were out at Disneyland for Oogie Boogie Bash. He graciously invited me out because they had planned to have a VIP tour guide take us through the party. So there was going to be a group of us. It was going to be me, OG, and his sister and her friend, and there were some complications, for OG's sister to join. Her friend got the date wrong or something of that nature, so they ended up not going, but they said we could still go, OG and I, for the VIP tour guide for Oogie Boogie Bash. So he and I went, and OG and I were kind of hanging out at California, the Grand Californian, because that's where we're supposed to meet up with the tour guide, and we're just kind of chilling. We're having a beer, having a sandwich, just chilling, and we were kind of talking, thinking like, okay, this is like the perfect like guy day. We're just we're just chilling, hanging out, having fun, and it's like, I don't know how we kind of feel about having a tour guide with us. It's like, I'd rather just us do it on our own. It's like, are they going to cramp our style? We can't, we can't talk the way that how we, we talk. We have to kind of, be polite, have our P's and Q's, something that I don't like to do.
Because you have this cast member, Tones, that's like, they're all dressed up, and they follow you around, basically. I mean, they're with you. They're part of your group. So it's just me and George. So to have this cast member now, like, in the mix, is weird because we're very close. It's like you and Camper, and then you have this cast member come in who's like oddball out. It feels weird, So we were worried about it. We were really worried.
Did you have to pay like more for the for them to be there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
What made you do that?
Well, it's my sister. My sister is she has a 33 membership, so part of that stuff is included and what have you and all that in that whole thing. Okay. And she was going to come with us, but she ended up not going.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So by the way, if you ever your sister ever needs like an extra guest because her friend forgets the fucking date, let me know, because I'll be there at Club 33. There's only one time in my life where I'll tell everybody in my family like just not to fucking talk to me, and I'll just be gone. Like they're gonna ask, where you going? Don't fucking worry about it. I'm gone. And that's it.
Exactly.
So you let me know. If she ever needs an extra person to tag along.
So we're waiting there in the lobby. We check in, and the cast member says Jackie is going to be your VIP tour guide this evening. So Jackie comes over, she introduces ourselves, we introduce, and I tell you what, fellas, Jackie, again, shout out to Jackie again. I don't know how many times we did shout out to her on this channel, but again, she was. I've dealt with a lot of cast members in my life, going to both Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, the whole 9 yards. and OG can agree with me on this, when she was the perfect cast member you can ever come in contact with to give you the impeccable Disney service.
Well,
Because it wasn't the fact that she was a cast member.
Right.
She just was Jackie. Like the whole night, it wasn't just me and OG being led by a tour guide. It was
It was a
the
friend.
three of us like a friend. The
She-
three of us
we-
just hanging
That's
out.
awesome.
we felt as comfortable with her like that we would with like all of us. Like she was just kicking it with us.
That's
Like and it was so laid back and chill, man. It was so good. But then when the cast member customer service thing needed to kick in, she would kick in. She'd be on her little phone making reservations or getting.
But
us
then she'd
this, that,
come
and the-
right back down. She'll come right back down to our level, and it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
so like then we just start talking about. We just started shooting.
She's
the
like
shit.
checking out girls with you guys and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was great. She was great. So here's the thing.
Yes,
go
okay.
ahead.
Oh no,
Go
no.
ahead, I'll
Did
let-
you want to? Okay, so okay, so we're in. Ooh ee ooh
That was straight from a movie. That was
So-
straight from a movie. No, you go. No, I go. You go.
So I felt like the scene at the night at the Roxbury. So we were at DCA and we were circling around Pixar Pier, and we come to Goofy's Sky School, and she said, "Do you guys want to go on it?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" You know, it's a fill-in. We were waiting for the parade to start, so we had to kill some time. The ride was broken down. The cast member told her, just come back, like it'll be back up in like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. So she went on her little dinner break and she said, why don't you guys go on The Little Mermaid? I'll meet you at the exit, and then we'll go back to Goofy Sky School, which we did. We went back, we got on the ride, and then while we were on the ride, it just reminded her of the time when she took a family on, and this older guy sat next to her, and he was just asking her a bunch of random questions like, oh, you know, like, how's your job going? What do you plan on doing for your future? Yada, yada, yada. And Goofy Sky School, try having a full-on conversation on Goofy Sky School.
I'm worried about losing my neck on that freaking.
Okay.
ride, dude.
I didn't know they actually rode the rides with you guys.
Yeah, they ride them with you.
Yeah.
Oh,
They ride them with you.
That's a
So,
solid job.
so after we went on it, which was great, there was nobody in line. She motions to the cast member, can we go another round? We didn't have to get up. So again, me being the freaking smart ass that I am, it's like, okay, let's do the Goofy Sky School challenge. It's like, let's just all have a freaking conversation with one another. Let's just throw out questions while we're riding this thing. So she started throwing questions. OG started throwing questions. I started throwing questions. She was like, how many kids do you want to have? And it's like, what, this and that. And
Put a
then
finger down if.
it's like, so then it came time to, and I swear it was not planned this way. Jackie asked, who's your favorite? Oh, because she said that she couldn't really like,
She hated country music.
she hated country music, but she said, so who's your favorite country singer? And I just happened to say, we were going down the final drop. All I said was Tim. And then the force, when it pushed us down, as I was in the middle of talking, I went, McGraw! And it just like, oh my God.
Oh,
I don't
we're
think we
cracking
ever
up.
laughed. I don't think I ever laughed on a ride that hard in
No.
my life. And it had really nothing to do with the ride.
Yeah,
But
we
it
were
was
having a good
just,
time.
it was just like,
That's amazing, man.
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you the reason why I absolutely hate this shit. All right. So I mean, it obviously didn't help when you had 4 heifers on this fucking little ass ride. You know what I'm saying? But it was me, Candid Camper, his brother, and his dad. Right. So,
Dude, I'm telling you, like 1,000 plus, maybe 2,000 plus on this
no,
fucking.
bitch. Not that much. No, but bro, so we're all 4 of us are on this fucking ride, right? And we're getting whiplash, right, from the thing. No joke. We felt our shit come off the tracks because we're fucking all 4, like 800 pounds is tilted to the left side and to the right side. And so we look like Jello inside of fucking, like, if you shake Jello. That's what all 4 of us fucking look like on this damn ride. We get off, we're like we're never going on this shit again, right? You're like, no, not with us four. It
Hey,
was,
I will.
I feel like I
I
was
will
gonna die.
say though, I will say that's probably the best time I've ever had on that ride. Even though I was squished as fuck, and then
dude.
and almost dying. But the best part about that trip was Splash Mountain, dude, because
yeah.
we literally got the splash. Like, dude,
Yeah, we did.
there was no water left in that motherfucker.
No, we fucking. They needed to refill that bitch, dude. Oh, my God.
Cast member standing over with a hose trying to refill.
Yeah, dude. Seriously, we looked like we just went for a swim. Like it was fucking terrible, and my ass was my ass was scraping the whole time because my big ass was fucking. All you heard was like us bouncing against the cement.
Another one too, Pirates of the Caribbean. That first drop,
Yeah, dude.
like every drop you could think of into water was just the best. The fucking Matterhorn drop, dude, all of them, just the best. Like any ride that wasn't a water ride turned into a water ride.
No,
That's great.
It was. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
that's the reason.
fantastic.
That's the reason why I hate that ride because I almost fucking died.
Oh,
last
man, that's
drop on the ride is
hilarious.
Actually, pretty good though. It gets me every time because you don't realize how fucking quick it is. It's like a.
Now I want to ride that with you.
Shit.
Almost died.
You're gonna have to pay me to take flight school, dude.
We almost all took flights
I know exactly.
right off the side of that bitch.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's the worst part about that ride are the turns. You don't know if it's gonna fall over or not. Like it's
Dude.
kind of like, oh man.
Like
Oh my
you
God.
think of safety and how safe that ride is, but that was the first time I felt like I wasn't safe on a Disney ride.
I don't know.
I think the cast members were looking up like, "Oh, is he gonna go?" Is
I'd
he
rather
gonna
go. I'd rather go on Guardians again, and that's my all-time worst ride for me too. But that's a close second, bro. That is a close second.
Hey, when the cast members are putting bets on who's gonna live and who's not, on the ride.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. It's funny stuff. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I mean, always a pleasure. Always fun having you guys on the Bad Thoughts podcast. Tones, I will start with you. If you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media.
Yes, sir. Thanks again for having us on. By the way, always a pleasure, and don't hesitate to hop on ours as well. All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
You can find me at Tones_TV on all platforms, and don't forget to follow the Bad Thoughts podcast on Spotify and YouTube. And we put TikToks up 2 or 3 times a day, or 2 or 3 times a week for our episodes. So go catch our TikTok clips as well.
Absolutely. And all the links will be down. All the links for their channel will be down below. So make sure you check them out. Subscribe to their. What is so funny, George?
I can't help it. I'm sorry. Like the whole show, because we were talking about a bunch of different stuff, and I felt bad for Tones because he couldn't really fully get into the conversation. And then the last segment, all I heard was you put these 4 fucking heifers in this ride vehicle, and it's like,
I'm telling you, man.
oh shit.
That's great, dude. That's great.
George is dying right now.
Oh man.
Save me last. Come back to me.
Okay, Mr. Candid Camper, where can they find you on social media, sir?
Oh man, fucking Candid Camper on Twitter and on YouTube, and of course, like Tone said, just follow us on the Bad Thoughts podcast, pretty much everywhere. Come watch our videos, man. It's fun. This is the shit I love doing.
Yeah.
And in Orange Grove 55, the whole crew, like you guys have been amazing through this whole journey. And man, this is, excuse my language, once again, fucking awesome. And I'm glad that we're here. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes,
we love you guys. We love you guys. So make sure you support them. Bad Thoughts Podcast. I will link them, and I'll also have a clip of the video we did part 1 at the end of this video, so you can check it out there as well. So check them out for sure. And George, have you composed yourself?
Yeah, I think I composed myself. Yes, I think I could get through this. Okay, so if you'd like to find me, you could do so on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on the podcast a walk with Walt. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There you go. There you go. Fantastic stuff, guys. So comment down below with all your thoughts on everything we talked about. We talked about a lot of stuff today. We talked a lot of movie stuff. We talked a lot of theme park stuff. So anything that's on your mind, comment down below. We would absolutely love to hear from you. And George, should I end it with some... Man.
Oh, real quick, by the way, don't forget to leave a comment down below if Tony has a big head and I'm ugly.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Comment down below with that as well. And, well, we got for George, what can we leave a comment down for George for? Would it be, what would be a good one? You pick it, George.
With the mustache.
There you go.
Oh yeah, prefer the mustache.
Yeah. Do you prefer the 5 o'clock shadow or the fucking Wookiee?
Or the Wookiee.
And then on top of that too, comment down below if we need to see OG with a fucking mustache and a beard.
Oh,
yes.
Come on.
Yeah.
Comment down below. We'll make it happen. All right. Thank you. Oh, and George, should we do the Carl's Jr. drop?
Let's do the Carl's Jr. drop.
We haven't done it in a while. Here we go. Bye, everybody.